I know my eyes light up when I find ginger ale in E-Mart. It's really a thrill.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
You know, it doesn't last long, but at least until I get home and put it in the refrigerator. This is a little prose poem that I wrote a few days after an evening I spent with some of my poet friends. And a couple of the guys got into a fist fight. A couple poets, you can imagine what that might be like. And as far as I can remember, the cause was that one of them called the other guy an amateur. So I started thinking about human nature. I don't think the poem really has anything to do with that inspiration, but I know somehow they're connected. So this poem is called A Cannibalistic Deer. A cannibalistic deer. Subjects of a scientific experiment, he and his friends had been placed on a small island and left there to devour every morsel of green within reach. At the end of a short summer, all that green was gone, and soon, famished, they fell upon each other in an orgy of cannibal predation. He was the last deer left standing. I admired the fangs and claws he had evolved in so brief a span. Fangs and claws worthy of a Serengeti thinner of herds. Now, back in Ohio and returned to his herbivorous ways, he consented to an interview. Sure, he explained, we could have found a way to climb trees and so gotten to the topmost leaves, or learned to stretch our necks like giraffes, or grown wings and just flown off the island. We talked about these things, but we were deer, you must understand, and proud of it. Deer, deer, deer. Okay. Sometimes you don't change the way you want to. One more poem that I was just working on recently, and all I can say is that somehow it involves the notion of beauty. It's called Tea with a God. I was having tea with the God of all deformities, a perfectly hideous fellow with all sorts of Mayan glyph bling going on and off inside his mouth instead of teeth, but not without a dash of old world gentleman charm about him too. He had been around. The chat tacked in the direction of beauty and the problem of heaven. Where would all the good, ugly people go when they died? I wanted to know. Certainly not to heaven. No one ever saw a picture of heaven with mug-ugly angels strumming harps up there. And surely they didn't deserve hell just because they were so bloody homely. Perhaps their inner beauty could be squeezed out of them like a tube and used to paint them over until they looked transfigured or such like. The God of all deformities sat bemused and sipped his tea past his ruined lips. Just then, his auburn raceabout of a wife sailed in and dropped anchor. She was a knockout. I mean, a real bombshell. You couldn't not stare at her. And existential as all get out. She didn't buy into heaven or hell or any of that. This was odd, coming from the wife of a god. Oh, he believes in all that stuff, all right, she said. Has to. And look what it's done to his complexion and his choppers. Still, she added, he's a god for all that and gets to go to bed with a ravishing slash like me every night. Darling, she turned to the God of all deformities. Do be a good God of all deformities and don't look at me that way. Okay, thank you.